If we talking, keep it honest, we ain't mixing the words. Racks in the double like we flipping with birds. But you know how it gets when it gets to the worst. Keep it cold like your wrist when...
The rain poured down relentlessly as YN hurried along the dimly lit streets of the city. Her footsteps echoed against the pavement, her heart racing with each beat. She clutched her umbrella tightly, trying to shield herself from the downpour. Lost in her thoughts, she turned a corner and collided with a figure standing in her path. "I'm so sorry," she exclaimed, staggering back a step. The man she had bumped into remained silent, his face obscured by the shadows cast by the streetlights. YN could feel his gaze piercing through her, sending shivers down her spine.
"It's all right."
He finally spoke, his voice low and smooth, sending a strange chill down YN's spine. As YN tried to regain her composure, she noticed something odd about the man. There was an intensity in his eyes, a darkness that seemed to linger beneath the surface. She quickly mumbled an apology and rushed past him, eager to escape the unsettling encounter. But she had no idea how that unexpected encounter would alter her life. Days passed, and YN couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. Everywhere she went, she felt his presence lingering in the shadows. It was as if he was following her, watching her every move. It was as if he was following her, watching her every move. One evening, as she returned home from work, she noticed a bouquet of roses sitting on her doorstep. Attached to it was a note that simply read, "For the girl with the captivating eyes." Her heart raced as she glanced around, half expecting to see the mysterious man lurking nearby. She brushed off the uneasy feeling, chalking it up to paranoia. But as the days went by, the gifts kept coming: chocolates, love letters, even expensive jewelry. Each one accompanied by cryptic messages that sent chills down her spine. Each one accompanied by cryptic messages that sent chills down her spine. She couldn't deny the rush of adrenaline that coursed through her veins every time she received a new gift. Little did she know, the guy behind the presents was far more deadly than she could have imagined. One fateful night, YN's world came crashing down around her. She had stayed late at the office, working on a project that had consumed her every waking moment. As she stepped out into the deserted streets, she felt a sudden chill run down her spine. Before she could react, a hand clamped down over her mouth, dragging her into the alleyway. Panic surged through her veins as she struggled against her. But he was too strong, his grip unyielding. As her latest obsession. With adrenaline coursing through her veins, YN fought back with all her strength. She kicked, she screamed, she clawed at his face, anything to break free from his grasp. But the man was relentless, his grip tightening with each passing moment. Just as she felt herself losing hope, a sudden surge of adrenaline fueled her efforts. With one final push, she managed to break free from his grasp, stumbling backward into the alleyway. Without a second thought, she turned and ran, her heart pounding in her chest. Her mind raced with fear and confusion as she navigated the labyrinthine streets, desperate to escape her captor. But no matter how fast she ran, she could still feel his presence lurking in the shadows, his manic laughter echoing in her ears. For days, YN lived in constant fear, never knowing when her tormentor would again. She barely slept, jumping at the slightest sound, her mind plagued by visions of the man who haunted her every waking moment. But amidst a newfound determination began to take root within her. She refused to be a victim, refused to let fear control her every move. With each passing day, her resolve grew stronger, her determination unyielding. Armed with nothing but her wits and a fierce determination to survive, YN embarked on a game of cat and mouse with her stalker. She knew she couldn't outrun him forever, but she was determined to fight until her last breath. Unbeknownst to her, the hunter would soon become the prey. As the days turned into weeks, YN's fears began to consume her every waking moment. She was constantly looking over her shoulder, her mind plagued by visions of the man who had turned her life into a living nightmare. But just when she thought she couldn't take it anymore, fate intervened in the most unexpected way. One night, as she returned home from work, she heard a noise coming from the shadows. Heart pounding, she turned to confront her, only to come face to face with the man who had been haunting her every waking moment. For a moment, they stood there in silence, the tension thick enough to cut through the air. Then, without warning, the man stepped forward, his eyes burning with an intensity that sent shivers down YN's spine.
I've been looking for you, YN.
He said, his voice low, and YN's heart raced as she stared into the eyes of her tormentor, a mix of fear and defiance swirling within her. She knew she should be terrified, but there was something oddly exhilarating about facing her fears head-on.
My name is Jimin. My love.
He speaks with a lower, soft voice. With a steely resolve, she squared her shoulders and met his gaze head-on, ready to confront the demons that had been haunting her every waking moment. As the man stepped closer, YN braced herself for the inevitable confrontation. She could feel the weight of his gaze bearing down on her, his eyes burning with a manic intensity that sent shivers down her spine. But just as she prepared to defend herself, the man spoke, his voice low and filled with an unexpected.
You don't understand, YN.
He whispered, his voice barely above a whisper. For a moment, YN was taken aback by the sudden shift in tone. She had expected anger, hostility, anything but the raw emotion she saw reflected in his eyes. As the man began to speak, YN listened in stunned silence, his words painting a picture of a troubled soul haunted by demons of his own making. He spoke of a childhood filled with pain and abandonment, of a life spent wandering the shadows in search of redemption. And amidst the darkness, YN saw a glimmer of something familiar, a longing for connection, a desire for understanding. In that moment, she realized that the man standing before her was not a monster, but a lost soul searching for a way out of the darkness. With each passing moment, YN felt her resolve beginning to waver. She had spent so long living in fear, so long running from the demons that haunted her every waking moment. But now, faced with the man who had turned her life upside down, she began to see him in a new light. Gone was the fear, the uncertainty, replaced by a newfound sense of empathy and understanding. She could see the pain etched into his features, the longing for redemption burning in his eyes. And in that moment, she made a decision to confront the darkness head-on, to face her fears and embrace the light. With a steely resolve, YN reached out to the man, her hand trembling with uncertainty. But as their fingers touched, She felt a spark of something electric pass between them, a connection that transcended words. In that moment, she knew that she had found her redemption, her salvation amidst the darkness. As Jimin pulled YN into his arms, she felt a rush of emotion unlike anything she had ever experienced before. For so long, I've lived in fear, haunted by demons that tormented me every waking moment. He tightened his embrace, whispering,
But now, in my arms, you'll find peace.
With determination in their hearts, they set out on a journey of self-discovery. Together, we'll leave the darkness behind and embrace the light, she declared. He nodded, his eyes reflecting resolve.
We'll confront our fears head-on, leaving no room for the demons of our past.
As they ventured into the unknown, uncertainty lingered. The past may never be forgotten, she admitted, her voice tinged with sadness.
But in the darkness, we've found redemption.
He assured her, his words filled with hope.
A chance to start anew amidst the chaos of our shattered lives.
Hand in hand, they disappeared into the night, ready to face whatever the future held.